Hey y'all, this is going to be a bit different, a different video than I usually post because I usually post about the menstrual cycle. But in today's video, I wanted to talk about leaving situations that do not serve you and that drain your energy and why you should leave them. So this is just going to be a really informal video because I think a lot of people stay in situations that they are unhappy with because they are so afraid of what their future is going to look like without this situation that they are in. So let's talk about the situations that I was in that were making me very unhappy and feeling unfulfilled. So number one was my university. I was going to San Diego State, and for some reason I didn't like it. And I know that's crazy because San Diego is such a beautiful city, but just something about being there, it just really sucked the energy out of me, and it made me feel like I had to change who I was. And it made me feel like I had to adopt different values in order to be accepted there or in order to be valued by the people there. And I eventually did end up changing who I was. I ended up changing my morals the second year that I was there. And it felt good temporarily because, you get all these friends, you get hookups, but in the long run, at the end of the day, I felt so empty and I felt miserable. I hated myself because I didn't think that anyone would like me for who I authentically was. And it was so scary to me to think about starting over because I knew I didn't like it there, and I really didn't want to stay for the next 2 years, but at the same time, I couldn't imagine what my future was going to look like. I didn't know if it was going to be a different college, and then I would have to fill out so much paperwork for transfers, or if I would take a gap year, but then what would that look like? I just didn't know what to do, and I didn't know what to tell my dad either. So that created a lot of stress and anxiety for me for those entire 2 years. And I'm pretty sure I was just living in survival mode for those 2 years. I wasn't having fun. I wasn't challenging myself. I was not growing. I was stuck mentally, and that manifested in unhealthy eating. That made me do a lot of drugs, hang out with people that I don't want to hang out with necessarily, and also hooking up with random people. And I'm not proud of doing that, but when you are in such a place of loss for who you are as a person, you will look to anyone or anything to just remind you that you are alive and that you matter. And it was super scary to think about, where am I gonna go if this doesn't work out? I just need to stay here. And now, lo and behold, it is a year later, and I am living with my mother in Arizona, which I'm so grateful for. And I feel so amazing. I feel amazing. Yeah, I'm not going to school right now, but I don't care. And it's not stressing me out because I am figuring out exactly what it is I want to do in life and what academic requirements I need for that before I get into college, and also visiting more places before I go into college if I do go back to college. And it's just crazy how much better I feel, and it feels like I'm just glowing 24/7, whereas in the past at my university that I was unhappy at, I did not feel like I wanted to be seen. I did not feel like putting myself out there to meet new friends. And here in Arizona, if you follow my Sacred Rhythms account on TikTok, you will see how much I have been putting myself out there and challenging myself. Meeting friends in general was very hard for me. And it was even harder when I was stuck in survival mode at college. And now I'm just out of survival mode and I feel like I'm in full thrive mode. You just get so creative, you get so ambitious when you leave an environment that does not give back to you. So that was the first situation I was in that was draining my energy. I'm just gonna grab some water. Okay, the second situation I was in was a job opportunity, and it was a UGC creator opportunity. It was for the company Flow, which is the women's health app, and it's for your period and everything like that. And initially I was super excited to become a part of that because I am very passionate about the menstrual cycle and women's health, but it wasn't as interactive. I didn't contribute much to the ideas or anything like that, and it was very straightforward, standard. You're going to film this reaction and you're going to write this as the caption or whatever, stuff like that. And I was like, okay, like it sounds okay. And it was 2 videos a day for $600 a month, which I thought was amazing because at the time I didn't have a job. And I was like, yeah, I could use some money, like why not? And it seemed easy. When I actually was doing it, I just felt so drained and honestly a little depressed by it. And I sincerely think it was because I was not passionate about it. And it's because it was not giving back to me in any way, really. And my videos always performed the worst. Like all the other UGC creators that were with us in that team, they were always getting so many views, so many likes, which didn't make me feel bad, but it just made me think maybe God is making my videos not be successful so that I don't continue with this. I don't know. Or maybe I was just genuinely not that good at it, but it really did drain me and it took away from my self-value because I was so confused as to why I was just working for money, like why I was putting my body in a state of fatigue, my eyes in a state of fatigue. I have super sensitive eyes when I look at my phone, so when I'm constantly editing videos, I have to set aside time for it and like time myself. But with that Flow creator thing, I don't know, it just did not work for me. And I was initially only doing it for, actually not just for the money, but the money was a big part of why I was doing this, because I was like, it's easy. And it was not easy. It was not easy on me. Maybe it would be easy for you or for the other people that are doing this, but it just did not call to my soul and it drained me because of that. So I decided to stop. And yeah, I could have $600 in like a week if I were to continue doing that, but it was not worth the amount of energy I was giving up that I could have been putting into other things that I'm actually passionate about and that will give back to me. So that was the second thing I let go of. And what I've noticed by letting go of that job opportunity was that I have had more energy, more creative energy to channel into what I am passionate about, to channel it into my cycle syncing work, and to channel it into putting myself out there and meeting new people. And the reason that I don't think I should be having opportunities thrown at me that are just money based is because I do not think money is a physical thing. It is more like an energy. And when you let go of things that are taking your energy that you are just doing for money, you are conceptualizing in your mind that money is a thing that you need to possess. Versus when you let those opportunities go, that aren't even opportunities, that are really just things that are tearing away at your energy. When you let that go, you have so much more energy to just be you and do you. And then that's when the money comes. So that's why I don't really care that I'm not getting any opportunities for money thrown at me right now. And thankfully, thank God, I have a house that I can come home to that I do not have to pay rent at, that I can stay here until I figure myself out. And I am so, so grateful for that, because I don't know where I would be without this. But moving on to the third thing that was draining my energy was my last relationship. It wasn't the relationship itself that was draining me, but it was the breakup, because it was super hard to let go of when you just share everything with that person and you think that they are the one, you think that you can trust them with everything. It's hard to let go of that. And I know that now, because the first relationship I ever had was so easy to get over, like maybe 3 days of crying max, and I never thought about him again. But this one actually feels like heartbreak. So I'm still kind of working through it, but I would definitely say I have let go of that energy that I was giving to it. And when I say energy, I mean texting him, checking up on his socials, looking at old pictures of us, and just trying to live in that identity of who I was when I was with this man, versus releasing that identity and becoming my new own person, which I am doing right now. And let me tell you, it feels amazing. So, and I know that by letting go of this breakup, that I'm going to have more energy. I already do have more energy. I can tell I'm not depressed and crying all the time anymore. And I don't feel hatred for myself, and I don't feel confused by my decision. And I know that this is going to bring a very good relationship that I have with myself out of this, which in turn, in the future, will bring a partner that can support me like I support myself, and that can love me like I love myself. And that's just what I want. And I know that to trust God's timing is important. And I know that it will come, and I'm not going to rush it. But I do think when I got into this relationship, my last one, I was in a very vulnerable state, and I was, like I said, I was in college, at a college I didn't like. So I was very depressed and anxious and stressed out all the time. So it was nice to have someone to take your mind off of that. And that's what I mean by I was in a vulnerable position when I got into that relationship, and I wasn't able to care for myself. I wasn't able to love myself. So versus now, where I do have the space, I do have the energy to care for myself, to pamper myself, to stick up for myself, and to chase after what it is that lights my soul on fire. I know I have me. I got me. I got my own back. I don't need anyone else to bring me up from rock bottom, because I'm doing that right now. And I'm setting up a stable platform for myself to grow. And I think that's awesome. So that was the end. Those were all the things that I let go of that were not serving me, that were draining my energy. And I'm sure that you have other things in your life that are draining your energy, that are not meant for you. And it's hard to let go of these things because our brains are wired to choose familiarity over things that are genuinely better for our well-being. So really just think about where you could be if this situation that was sucking your energy away was different. If it's a partner that's sucking your energy, imagine what a partner would look like that replenishes your energy. If an environment is sucking your energy, imagine what an environment would look like that replenishes your energy. And just keep on doing that with certain situations. Like you could do it with your job, with self-love, your exercise, anything. But it's so important to recognize things that are draining your energy, because a lot of us make excuses for keeping things in our lives that drain us, when instead we should be acknowledging the fact that they are no good for us. And whether we're getting paid a lot of money for doing these things that drain our energy, or whether this person buys us a lot of gifts, but we don't really like them. You can't keep making excuses, because that is not a fair balance for your energy being drained and not replenished. That's all I have to say on this topic. There's so many other things that have drained me in the past, but those were the big three that I am so proud of for letting go, and that I feel so much better. I really do. So if anything is in your life that's draining you, please make the steps to transition out of them. And take very good care of yourself as always.